Welcome to this edition of Science Corner. My name is Justin White with Imagination Station Science and History Museum. Today we're going to be doing a fun and popular experiment called elephant toothpaste, in which we're going to be looking at a chemical reaction that is definitely very pleasing to the eye. So the first thing we're going to use is hydrogen peroxide. This is 30% hydrogen peroxide, which is a lot higher than the hydrogen peroxide you're probably used to putting on a cut or a wound. That's about 3%. At 30%, this is definitely going to cause some skin irritation if you're not using gloves, as well as if you get it in your hair, it would bleach it out. So a lot of times salons will use this as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour into our graduated cylinder. I want to make sure we have 60 milliliters. We're going to go ahead and leave that right there. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a potassium solution concentrate. Now I already have one pre-made, but we'll go ahead and we'll make another one just so we can do two different ones at the same time. Now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put on our beaker on our scale. You want to turn that on, and then you want to make sure that you zero out the scale. This is going to make sure that you get a very accurate reading instead of having to subtract from the weight of the beaker. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add about 10 grams worth of potassium iodide. And we're going to add that onto our scale. Now potassium iodide basically is almost like salt. So this part is actually really not going to cause any sort of physical harm to you. There can be light skin irritation, but your chances are very slim. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to dump it into our test tube. And one of the best things to do is use a funnel. That way so you're not losing any of your potassium iodide. And if it gets stuck, you can just use a popsicle stick to help push it down. That way so you get down into your test tube. The next thing we'll do is we're going to add just a little bit, about 3 milliliters or a couple of drops worth of Dawn dish detergent. Any dish detergent should do. Our next step is going to be to add in 10 milliliters of water. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to shake up our tube and mix it up. And let that sit just for a minute. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our hydrogen peroxide into our bottle. And just to make it a little bit more fun, we're going to make sure we have 2. So once again, that's 60 milliliters of hydrogen peroxide at 30% hydrogen peroxide. Next thing we're going to do is just to make it a little bit more colorful. This really doesn't have much to do with the actual reaction that goes on, but this kind of gives it a more of an aesthetic purpose. But we're going to add a couple little drops of food coloring. So we got blue, and then we'll do the other one green. Now usually with this also, the brighter the colors, the better. And so we'll go ahead and we'll clear off our table. All right, and so now that we have our hydrogen peroxide at 30% as well as our food coloring in, the next thing we can do is we can add in our potassium solution. So we'll go ahead and we will open up both of them so we can do them both at the same time, and we're going to see what happens. And 1, 2, 3. So as one thing to notice, as we have that chemical reaction that you can see, is that you'll actually see steam coming up off of our elephant toothpaste. That's an indicator that we have an exothermic reaction. Exothermic reactions released energy outwards, and that you feel in the form of heat. So as you can see by this experiment, if you touch it, it's really hot, and then it can actually irritate and burn your skin. So definitely wear gloves whenever you're doing this type of experiment. Thank you guys for joining us for this edition of Science Corner, and we hope to see you again in the next episode. For Imagination Station, I'm Justin White.